Hey guys, welcome back to another After Effects tutorial. In this one, we're going to be creating this sort of a pencil scribble effect, which you can use to reveal your logo or text. And the great thing about it is we're going to be using only the built-in After Effects tools. So without further ado, let's jump straight into After Effects and learn something cool. Welcome back. So I'm going to start by creating a composition, and I'm going to call it 1080p. We're going to set it 1920 by 1080 and 30 frames per second, 10-second long. Okay. And now I'm going to import a texture, which we're going to be using as a background. Drag this texture in the 1080p composition. And we're going to be using the effect called Reptile to expand it in all directions. So CC Reptile. And I'm going to expand it right, left, downwards, and upwards. Like so. And we're going to turn it into a 3D layer by clicking on this icon over here. Now I'm going to create a camera and the null object, which is going to control the movement of the camera right away. So for the camera, it's just a basic camera. Okay. And go to Layer, New Layer, Null Object. Make it also a 3D layer. And by the way, if you can't see these options, you need to click on the toggle switches modes over here. There, so change it to 3D and then select the camera and parent it to the null. And we're going to call the null cam position. Okay. So the next thing is to create logo and text compositions. Go to Composition, New Composition. Name the first one Logo. And we're going to be using a 1000 by 600 dimensions. And for the tagline, and change this to 150. So I'm going to import a logo. You can do that by dragging your logo inside After Effects or simply by going to this project panel, right-click, import file. Now, since the logo is imported, drag it into the logo comp, and I'm going to press S to scale it down a bit, like so. Now go to the tagline, and we're going to add a short text. Your tagline goes right here, so I'm going to change the font size. And I'm going to align it to the center of the composition and to the top and change the color to white. If you can't see the align options, you need to go to the window menu up top and go to align. Logo is set. Tagline is set. Now we're going to drag the logo composition inside the 1080p. It looks good. And we're going to drag the tagline as well. I'm going to apply a fill effect to the tagline so I can change the color more easily later on. Something like this. And I'm going to make sure that I don't overlap the tagline composition with the logo composition. And you can check this out by selecting the tagline composition and just hovering over your mouse on the logo composition, and you'll see these outlines appear. I'm going to place it just here. And I'm going to make these two also a 3D compositions. Now, before moving forward, I'm going to organize this a bit right from the start. So we have a clean project structure. I'm going to create a folder, name this Pencil Sketch. Oops, made a typo. And then I'm going to create 3 folders. One is for the render. The second one is for the editable compositions. And the third one is for the compositions we're going to be using to create this animation. Now go to the Edit folder, create 2 more folders. One is called Logo, and the other Tagline. There. We've organized the project just a bit so we don't get confused later on. And we can do the same thing over here. I'm always colorizing the editable compositions in orange and the building blocks or layers in blue. Now I'm going to hide the tagline just for a bit and use the logo comp to create the pencil outline drawing animation. And I'm going to do that by using the effect called Vegas effect. So go to Effects, Generate Vegas. And I'm going to change the blend mode from over to transparent. I'm going to solo this so we can see better. Change the color to, for example, white. Segments to 1. Change the midpoint opacity to 1 and the midpoint position to the maximum value. Open up the image contours and change the threshold to a lower amount until we can see our logo. So about a 100 will do. This looks good. I'm going to animate the length of the lines. We're going to start from 0 and click on the stopwatch and go to, for example, 4-second mark and change this value to 1. So we have this effect. I'm going to press U to bring up the keyframes, select the second keyframe, right click, go to Keyframe Assistant and Easy Ease. Like so. Now I'm going to show the background layer again. And I'm going to apply another effect, which is going to be Generate Fill. So I can change the color of the pencil. Something like this. And another one, Effect, Distort, Turbulent Displace. By using the turbulent displacement effect, we're going to simulate the drawing of the exactly the same shape over and over again, just like when you're drawing on a paper. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. We're going to change the size to something smaller. 25 is a good value, and change the amount to, for example, 8. It doesn't have to be extreme. We need just a touch, so maybe even lower value of 4. Now I'm going to duplicate the logo again, change the value for the turbulent displacement from 4 to 12, duplicate it again, change the value to, for example, 20. Okay, duplicate it again and delete the turbulent displacement effect. So we need a single copy which is going to represent the clean outlines. Let's turn this back on. And we're going to adjust the opacity of these 3. One is going to have the opacity of 80, other one of 60, and the third one of 40. And we're going to space them out just a bit. So for example, 5 frames is enough. Move the second one there. Go to the 10th frame. There. And for the 15th frame, there. So we have something like this. Okay. Now for the scribble effect, we're going to create a composition which will have the exact same dimensions as the logo comp. So we're going to work with 1000 by a 600 composition. Go to Composition, New Composition. 1000 by a 600. Call this Scribble 01. Go to Layer, New, Solid. Make comp size, call it Scribble. Okay. While the layer is selected, going to go to this rectangle tool over here. Double click on this rectangle to create a mask for the entire shape, as you can see. We can go to the Effect, Generate, Scribble. And we're going to change a couple of options here. We're going to create first a very thin line. Change this value to a very low amount. something like this. I'm going to leave the rest of these as they are. You can change the angle, spacing, path overlap, but we're going to leave this as is, and we're going to animate the stroke. Go to the 0 second mark, change the end value to 0, go to 4 seconds, change the value to 100, press U to bring up the keyframes, select the last keyframe, right-click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. Now we're going to move the scribble from the logo folder to the scene elements. Duplicate these compositions by selecting it and pressing Ctrl or Command D, or going to the edit menu and selecting duplicate. Open it by double clicking on it, select the layer. We're going to change the spacing to 6 and changing the stroke width to 3.5. So now we have thicker lines. And we're going to duplicate this once more. So edit, duplicate. Select the layer, change the stroke width to 50. And in stroke options, we're going to adjust the spacing to 55. There. And as if you can notice, there's a slight wiggle effect, and we can disable this by turning this value all the way down. And we're going to do that for the previous compositions. So we don't need that effect. There. Now go back to the 1080p comp and duplicate the logo composition once again. But now we're going to remove all the effects which we've applied previously. Drag the Scribble 01 below the newly duplicated layer and change the mode to Alpha Matte. Now go to the Effect, Generate Fill, and change the pencil color to whatever you like. So this is what we get. I'm going to duplicate both of these. Select the Scribble 01, hold down Alt or Option if you are on a Mac, and drag the Scribble 02 over it. So now we have this effect. And we're going to duplicate this once more. Instead of using the logo as an alpha matte for the scribble effect, we're going to use the scribble effect as an alpha matte for the logo. So we're going to select no track matte here, put the logo below the scribble effect, enable it, change the Scribble 02 to Scribble 03, and go to Logo, Alpha Matte Scribble 03. So we're going to reveal our logo by using the scribble effect. Just like we did with the lines before, we're going to space these out a bit. Let's enable these lines. This effect. And as the outlines are almost done, we're going to add these scribble lines one by one. So for example, here we'll start, go 10 frames forward. We're going to move Scribble 02, move another 10 frames, and we're going to move Scribble 03. And now we're going to fade out these lines to which we added a turbulent displacement effect. Somewhere around 5-second mark, we're going to select these, press T, add a keyframe, go to 7th second. We're going to add this effect to the top layer as well. Like so. Select all of them, right-click, keyframe assistant, easy ease. Maybe we can move the beginning of the opacity animation down to 4th second. Yeah, it looks better. And now all that is left to do is to animate the camera. So I'm going to animate the rotation. We're going to go to something like this. This. Okay. 35 degrees, 20 degrees, and 15 degrees. Add a keyframe for all of these. And somewhere around 5th second, we're going to go to 0 for all 3 of these values. Select all of them. Keyframe Assistant, Ease or F9 on your keyboard. Now I'm going to expand the background just a bit more. Click on it and just fill out this blank space. We can animate the camera zoom. So I'm going to select the camera, double press A, go to the 0 seconds, add a keyframe. And now I'm going to adjust the value. So somewhere from 4,000 back to the original value. And we're going to duplicate the camera position layer once again. Press U to bring up the keyframes, delete everything, and now press P. So I'm going to add just a slight zoom out or pan out effect to this. And that effect is going to start from the 1st second. I'm going to add a keyframe for the position and go to the 10th second and move this, for example, minus 150. Go back to the beginning, select the first camera position we made and pin it to the second one. So you have this effect. As you can see, the animation continues to move on. And we're going to add ease to the camera zoom effect. Maybe we're going to use even a higher number. And we're going to move the keyframe something like this to 4th second. And now we're going to animate our tagline in. Select the tagline. Press T, move the start of the composition to the 3rd second, click on a stopwatch, bring the value down to 0, and about at the 6th second mark, bring the value up to 100. So we have this effect. The last thing we can do is to select all of these, Ctrl-Shift-C to pre-compose, name this animation, create an adjustment layer, and we can add controls for example, the width of the pencil scribble, the spacing, the angle, and maybe for some colors. So what we are going to do is go to Effect, Expression Controls, Color Control, Effect, Expression Control, Slider Control. So I'm going to name this Scribble 01 Color. And the second one, Scribble 01 Stroke Width. Lock this panel here. Go to the Scribble 01. Open up the effects. Alt-click on the color and parent it to this color. And then alt-click on a stroke width and parent it to this value, which is now 0, but we're going to add 0.1. Go back to the animation and delete the fill effect for all 3. You can see that this first scribble effect has the red color, which we can change here. And the stroke of 0.1, which we can change here. And it seems that at the 5% value, it's already thick enough, so we're going to right-click on this value, edit value, and give it a range slider range from 0 to 5. So we can easily adjust the thickness without overdoing it. Now we're going to select both of these, Control D to duplicate it. Rename them to Scribble 02 color. Go to Scribble 02. Open up the layer effects. Alt-click on a color. Alt-click on a stroke width. Since we're using the Scribble 03 as a logo mat, we don't need the effects for that. So I'm going to reduce this value to 0.1 and to 3.5. We can add a control for the logo outline color. Go to animation, select the first composition which has the Vegas effect, and we can borrow this color from here. Alt-click on the color, select here, unlock this panel, select the fill effect, copy it, select the rest of the logo compositions, and paste the fill effect. And by doing so, you will copy the expressions, which will link the color of the outlines to the layer in the 1080p composition. So if we go back, we can name this layer colors or controls. And if you like, you can organize the project just a bit. And there you have it, guys, a logo pencil scribble effect by using only the built-in After Effects tools. Thank you for checking out this tutorial. Hopefully I will see you in the next one. And until then, I wish you all the best. Take care and bye.